Okay, this is day one of the 31 Stories in 31 Days project. Had a little bit of technical difficulty today getting into this. First, they were scraping the asphalt off the street in front of my house most of the day, and then the microphone that I had didn't work, and now I'm finally just checking in, and not quite the audio quality that I was hoping for, but I just want to get these done. What is the 31 Stories in 31 Days project? Um, that is the first story. How it came about. How did it come about? I believe very strongly in that practicing a form makes you better at it. I hear a lot of people these days say, "Oh, I'm a storyteller." I kind of believe we're all storytellers. I mean, I think that's one of the unique qualities of being human is that we tell ourselves stories for better or for worse all the time. I think to be a better storyteller, I need to practice. I used to get a lot of practice. I worked in advertising strategy for years, and that was probably one of the better storytelling positions anyone could ask for. Um, but in recent years, I haven't had that platform, and I began to realize I missed it. Um, I do what's called walking at the Park Slope Food Co-op. The Park Slope Co-op is about a 14,000 member strong organization that brings good food into the community for low prices, and everyone that works there gets the discount. It's a lovely community thing. What I do is I work outside. People come outside with their carts. I walk with them home, and then I walk the cart back to the co-op. That is my job. My shift is about 2.5 hours long. I probably do 12 to 15 people in that time. I think of them as short interviews. One day I was doing this about 3 weeks ago, and I ran into a woman who somehow got me going on the storytelling thing. She's like, "Well, what are you working on right now?" And I laid out this perfectly laid plan of what I was going to do in the month of December, tell a different story. I was going to be randomly chosen from a hat, all of the topics and things like that. Of course, I was making all of this up on the spot, but it felt so very real because I had been considering the craft of storytelling. So, what I'm doing now is telling you a little bit about. I had some rules here somewhere. Just 1 minute. Where did I put that piece of paper? Oh, there they are. And I'm back. So, um, some rules for this. First, not prepared material. And when I say not prepared material, I mean not material that I've worked into line by line that I read from you that you've heard 100 times before. Now, those of you who've known me know that I will fall back on stories that I've told 1,000 times before. That's part of this project. What are the stories? The stories are topical. So I'm going to put a topic in a hat. You choose the topic out of the hat, and I have to tell a story from my life somehow related to that topic. I say related to my life. I was like, well, why don't you just tell stories that aren't about you? And then the more research I did into people who've done like projects like this, I find that telling your story like writing a novel is usually the easiest thing to do. So it's my story. Now we also have to remember that it's my story. So that means that facts, don't check the facts. Day to day, they may be correct, they may be grand, they may be close. You know that what did Bill Clinton used to do? He had this really good knack of saying, rather than I believe it's 70% of Americans believe that, he would say 67% of Americans believe. And after that, you believe anything he said because he said an odd number. I picked up that habit from doing him, so basically I know it's around 70%. I'll say 71% of people believe, or my research shows that 69% of Americans think that, and then we go from there. There's a whole thing on cognitive bias I'll get into at some point in some story, I'm sure. Topics are chosen randomly, except when they're not. So I'm going to start off just choosing them directly out of the hat and see how well I do. Tomorrow I'll just grab one out of the hat and see how well I do. If it's not so good, I might grab it out of the hat the day before so I have 24 hours to prepare. There may be certain days, Christmas is coming this month, New Year's Eve is this month, that might be loaded that I want to tell particular stories on. Those I'll do. So there's no hard and fast rule. I'm just using think of this more as an exercise to learn how to do this. I want to tell stories. I want to be able to get in front of people and tell a story that I haven't told before or with an intonation that I haven't told before. So not unlike the juggling I do, I'm practicing. They don't have to be perfect. They don't have to have a second take. They don't even have to have the best audio quality. This is not about filmmaking. This is about storytelling. So I think that kind of anything else on my list? Oh, family, names, things like that. Okay. The other advice I got from people is if you're going to mention people that you know in the stories that you tell, there will be two types of people. Those that are furious that you mentioned them in your storytelling, and those that will be furious that you did not mention them in your storytelling. I know that I run that risk, and I have pledged to myself to be a little bit ethical and to not single people out, to not make fun of people, to not, look at people's shortcomings or failings or things like that. But sometimes you have to tell a funny story. To those people, I apologize in advance. I am not trying to be mean. I am really just practicing storytelling. Facts we covered. Uh, Story through a bunch of different prepared material lenses, and there it is. So, Malcolm Gladwell says you can perfect something by practicing it for 10,000 hours. That's what I'm attempting to do with storytelling. I can't just walk around and mutter to myself. There needs to be an audience. So even though I can't see anyone out there, just the act of going through this exercise every day, I believe is going to push me to a place that I haven't been before. So, first day one, I like to, when I'm doing projects, I always like to make a list. And the first thing I always put on the list is make list. And then when I get down to the end of it, I'm like, check that one right off. So this is what I feel like I've just done with this one. I've sort of established what I'm trying to do here. Tomorrow will be a topical thing about some point in my life about something that has to do with that topic. Wish me luck. 30 more to come.